What's good, LL Nation? Happy Thursday to everyone out there. It's a beautiful day. I love life. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, the great American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you drink
responsibly.
You gotta drink responsibly. Hey, Left, got a special because we just don't have the rye version. We also have that Lucky Lefty version of Onora whiskey going right now. Your own little blend, Left, huh?
Own little blend.
So
it defines my personality. Just smooth, just smooth and got the flavors. It's something like that.
Yo, it's a great stocking stuffer. I got a message from our big bro, Carl Reed, who will be joining us Monday. Coach Carl Reed, 247, will be joining us Monday. He told me to send you a message. He said he's still waiting on his bottle, Left.
Yeah, that's a different bottle, but I'm definitely getting
it. I said we did promise you a bottle.
We did promise you. Got to make it happen. I got to talk to my guys at the factory. They're slow this holiday. The elves ain't working. They must be working for Santa at this point. I got to recruit them back. You
got to give them a little stipend, a little extra bonus or something.
Yes, I got to get them an extra holiday bonus or something for these boys.
So, as always, go to CFB Nation. Get all of the great content. State of Recruiting with I got John Garcia Jr., Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Leave comments. Give us 5 stars. We would greatly appreciate it. By all means, go ahead and download that. Set it up for automatic download. We cover college football like no one else. CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. You see the title right there. Respect Marcus Freeman. We're going to talk about it today. Y'all going to put some respect on this dude's name. That's what we're about to do today. Like, we had a totally different direction. But after some things that happened overnight, we're going to talk about some things today. Some people had some comments left for you, social media, and after yesterday's show. With your assessment of Grayson McCall once again. The push for Grayson McCall to go from FCS to Notre Dame continues amongst the Notre Dame fan base. And people pushing back, feeling like that Notre Dame has put Tyler Buchner in a great position to succeed. Would you like to respond to that, Left?
That we put who in a great position to succeed?
Tyler Buchner and other quarterbacks at Notre Dame.
If you have the ability and talent to do everything that the offense requires you to do, then they put you in great position. But unfortunately, they don't recruit at the same level to what they're asking for offensively. And that's the unfortunate part.
Simple as that. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Once again, we always respond to the comments that are left after the show in the chat. We spin it different. Left, I think it's something wrong with your picture, bro.
Can you hear me though?
I can hear you.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
It just went out or something.
Yeah. So I think we have to build this show line upon line because there's a lot. We're going to get to the NCAA announcing this new president today, which directly impacts or will directly impact NIL. Believe it. The choice that they made is a direct response to NIL legislation. The NCAA is coming.
Oh, they're coming for sure.
Recruits, schools, the NCAA is coming. Better get your ducks in a row. That's all I have to say about that. Big news overnight, Left. Let me run the story to you like this. I'm sleep, Left.
Sleep.
I go have a great dinner with my parents. Great dinner. Great conversation. I come home. Catch the itis. It was raining outside. You know how good that sleep is when it's a nice rain hitting up against the window. Just perfect.
Yeah.
I fall asleep. My wife wakes me up and she says, I'm getting ready to go to work. I said, okay. I look at my clock. It's like 9:45. I said, let me check my phone. I check my phone and my Twitter feed is crazy. I got notifications, inboxes. Crazy. Just crazy. My man, the messages I got from Notre Dame fans had me believing something crazy had happened. They were like, we can't wait to hear what you got to say about this Peyton Bowen stuff. And I'm like, what stuff? And what are you talking about?
Stuff?
Like 4 or 5 people. Then people are hitting me in Instagram. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about Peyton Bowen. So, dude, I search Twitter, type in Peyton Bowen, and I see the rumor that's out there. So my response on Twitter was, 2 million, huh? With the Chris Tucker Friday GIF. Like, get away. Long story short, I didn't even buy into it because we just did a show yesterday where we talked about NIL being what? Overvalued.
Yeah, I mean, for the top percent players, it matters, but that's the cream of the crop.
Right. So I'm shooing the story away, like $2 million, huh? Like, we just talked about this the day before. Like, what are we really talking about? I go back to sleep. Wake up this morning, bombshell, right?
To a bombshell.
Bombshell. Like, more notifications under my tweet, taken out of context. And I'm like, yo, this is funny. So I finally go to what people have been reacting to, which was 2 reports by our own Brian Driscoll and Tom Lloyd. They both report on the same thing, right? They both report on the same thing. Well, I guess Peyton Bowen saw the backlash, and about 1 a.m, I guess he decided to tweet that there was misinformation being put out there.
Should have been like, it's 3 million, not 2 million. It's 3 million, they said.
Left, I don't care. I don't care. You know where I stand on this. I don't care about the bag. Just get the bag the right way. Be who you are and stand on it. If you're about the bag, stand on that. Stand on it. Period. Just stand on it.
I don't think it became that serious, though, until the end about the bag.
Which goes back to what I said, right? If you know the bag is important, don't commit. Just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait. You have up until what is the second signing date? Sometime in February.
So would you tell teams to stop recruiting you once you commit? Let's say Peyton, like, he committed early. Would you, if you was Marcus Freeman, tell him that other school, you had to tell other school to stop recruiting him? Because that's kind of how this happened, right?
Now, see, this is twofold. I'm not this person that says abolish the verbal commit, because honestly, the verbal commit keeps us in business, Left. That's part of what allows us to talk every day. The building of classes, kids verbally committing early. We get to talk about that. We get to break down their film. We get to talk about their impact on the team and the roster. That's great business for us. I don't have a problem with the verbal commit early. But at some point, and this is not to say that anyone can change their mind, right? Coaches change their mind all the time, right? Coaches tell you, I'm not talking to any teams. I'm not doing any interviews. I don't plan on going anywhere. And then a week later, they're doing a press conference at another school. So you can always have a change of heart based upon things that have happened. If a coach leaves, fine. You lose your coordinator, your position coach, fine. Like, that's life. But at some point, your word has to mean something in this process. It has to. Or else, what are we doing? Do you think, wait a minute, let's be honest. Do you think in the 23 class, you think he's the only commit getting offers? Keep it a buck. Do you think he's the only one committed to Notre Dame that other schools are coming to saying, yo,
He might be the only one getting that type of money, though.
First of all, I don't think the money is.
It's the difference.
No, you would, dude.
Because I believe you're right. I think there are other 23 commits like Drake Bowen probably still getting recruited by people, but I don't think anybody's offering 2-3 million like they offering this kid either.
I don't think he's been offered that much, bro. I call cap.
Okay.
Because he's not at that. We marked out the positions yesterday. If he was a quarterback,
edge rusher,
he's a safety.
I mean, I don't know, maybe.
And maybe to some school, he might be worth that. I'm not buying it. But the numbers don't matter to me. If it was 100,000 more than what he was getting somewhere else, that's still attractive. If it was 200,000 more that he might be getting at a Notre Dame or Oklahoma, it's still more. Teams are going to try and come and blow it out of the park. I just don't think the report might not. If it wasn't 2, it might have been 1.2. It doesn't do either way. They're trying to use the money to entice him and entice his decision. That's the point. That's the point.
What would you do if you was 18?
Well, see,
they put the $2 million on the table. Boom. And you committed, but it's a verbal.
Right.
You try to do the right thing. You do the whole God called you to this place. You know how they throw God into the equation. So you sitting at the table. The coach comes out. Boom. Right. $2 million. Shaun, right. I need you to flip your decision. You 18. We got you the shoes.
Right.
And you put the money on there.
Right.
Come to Oregon.
We're talking about me. So you want me to like put my life, you talking about me, my life, my parents.
Yes. $2 million on the table. They done sent you a couple pairs of shoes.
Right.
You know, you committed Notre Dame, but they still said we're gonna give you the shoes though. And then you come for a visit.
I'm definitely about to tell you. I'm about to tell you how it's gonna go down. I would be one of those recruits where I would be one of the recruits that will be recruiting others.
Okay.
I would be that dude. I would be a Drake Bowen type. I already know it.
Okay.
So that would have a profound impact on my decision. Number 2, I would definitely look at the money like, dang, that's $2 million. Let's keep it a buck. Like, that's $2 million. I would definitely look at that. Now,
18.
My parents, my father would be like, look, that's $2 million. But right out, my father would be like, yo, that is $2 million. But You got to be willing to look Marcus Freeman in the face and tell him tell him why you're leading his class. Now, my father, he would be like, yo, if you want to rock the money, but don't lie to this man and tell this man you leaving because you feel like that school is a better fit. Tell him the truth.
Right.
Tell him the truth. That would be my father's take. My mother, she would be super deep, super spiritual. She'd be like, no, that's not right. You gave Notre Dame your word. I already know what my mother would be. So that would pretty much be the dynamics. My little brother would be all about the shoes. He's like, oh, dog, we go there. We can get all the Jordans we want. I already know what my brother would say. So, I already know. So for me, that would be my dynamic. If it were me.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And to be honest, it would be tough. Me being that Drake Bowen type, it would be really tough for me to, number one, have to bounce on the class after being one of the leaders of the class. And then number two, it would be tough for me to look Marcus Freeman in the face and tell him I'm leaving you because of money. That would be tough for me. Now, I can't speak for any other kid. But for me, and the advice that I know that I would get, ultimately at the end, it would be tough for me to make that decision, right? Because my decision would not have been about that in the first place.
Right.
It wouldn't. But when you have parents out here that are conveying that is a part of the process on social media in prior months, then you can't pull it back and act like, no, I'm all about fit. You can't do that. Because the conversation is obviously taking place. And that's fine. And if it's taking place, stand on it. Just stand on it. But you're going to respect Marcus Freeman. That's what you're going to do. Because this dude has been nothing but transparent to the fan base, to his players, and to the recruits. That's all he's done. He's had tough conversations with kids about where they fit in recruiting. Like, we need to part ways. He's had tough conversations with Dante Moore, had tough conversations with Keon Keeley. Keon Keeley kept it a buck. I'll give that kid and his family credit. They kept it a buck. You can be mad. They kept it a buck. Like, hey, this is the direction we're going. And they did it months ago.
That'd be tough, man. You know,
I have no problem. Look, I have
starting
no
college with $2 million in your bank account.
Just stand on. That's all I'm saying. And wait a minute. This is the tricky part, bro.
That'd be crazy.
This is the tricky part. That is crazy.
Or $1 million as a backup, like Bryce Young,
Facts.
before you even play.
Facts.
That's even crazier. But that's, man.
His friend for chilling. Right? Works for ESPN college basketball. This is college basketball, bro. His tweet, he just tweeted this out like early this morning. I am hearing that some talented college teams are starting to crack because of NIL payments not being made on time. NIL promises not kept or jealousy amongst teammates. Not a value judgment on NIL. It's just human nature. It's the new norm. And it's going to keep happening.
Well, I mean, that's no different than professional leagues.
Jordan Addison had the same issue with USC. The same issue.
But he also went to a good team that had a good fit for him, too.
Look, man, we have to have everything that glitters is not gold. I don't care what these teams are telling you, bro. Ultimately, your value is determined by what you do on the field. They can promise you the world. But companies are not just forking over money without seeing something. that they can benefit from as well. That's not the way the world happens.
Well, I've seen how we've done Dante, and he's a top recruit, so I'm surprised the Peyton Bowen thing is dragged out as long as it has. But you know, we've seen what happened when guys are balancing our commitment with other schools. It just usually doesn't work out in the end.
Dude, all I'm saying is you had two publications connected to Notre Dame report that, yo, there's something going on here. There's some fire and smoke over here. There's some fire and smoke. I know the guy at Irish Breakdown that I talk to consistently. If he says he has sources, believe him.
Believe him.
Now you can debate amounts and all that stuff all you want to. Believe him. Because the large majority of the time, his intel is on point. Period. What he drops on the message board is on point. And when him and somebody else drop this, it doesn't matter how the story was written. When they pretty much drop the same thing on the same day, you can try to dress it up and put lipstick on it how you want to. This is it. Left. This has been my issue, bro. There is nothing wrong with the bag. There's nothing
wrong with the bag.
But stand on it. Stand on it.
It hasn't been anybody normalize it yet, like a Deion Sanders type that puts it out there, matched with the talent. All these top talent players are all fake humble. They still playing the man, got it from the mud. Couldn't do it without everybody in my life, but they secretly really want the bag. And it just takes a time.
Who doesn't want the bag?
They all do the fake humble thing now. It's like the cool thing. Oh, I'll play for free for my whole life. I just want to get to the NFL and reach my dreams. But they see that $2 million sitting on the table. It's a hard decision for any young kid, just because you're just like, man, I can imagine $2 million as a freshman. Man, my teammates couldn't tell me nothing, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're honest enough to say that, Left. If you walked into Notre Dame with $2 million, bro, who'd you have? Denbrock? Was it Denbrock that was there? Denbrock would have had a problem. Denbrock would have had a problem, bro.
But I would be expecting to start because, come on, you're not paying them $2 million.
Facts.
So it would have been a good relationship because I would have played right away. We hadn't to worry about the politics.
So that's it, man. I'm all for kids getting as much money as they can, man. Matter of fact, I felt like people were more honest when they did it illegally. They stood in it better. Now there's NIL. They want to place both sides of the fence. Oh, it's really not that important. But I want the bag.
But I want the $2 million.
Right. Like, dude, back in the day, you knew you wanted the bag. You just figured a way how to get it. They just had to figure a way to get it to you. Period. And that's the disappointing thing about the whole situation. And I had people saying that I reported something. Like, I didn't report a thing. My initial tweet was in response to the fact that I didn't even think the story was real. I'm like, $2 million? Come on, man. Ain't nobody offering nobody $2 million. Really? But hey, it's what it is, Left. That's where we are. Ultimately, we have to have respect for Marcus Freeman.
That's right. You
have to have him.
Right. Because he's fighting, And And that's something that we haven't had of the feeling of in our program for a while. Somebody that's going to fight with the titans of the college football. So it's important that we commend that because it's a new feeling. It's like when you get a new crush, it's a new feeling. It's not the same. They do different stuff. So it's important that we acknowledge that this is what a good program is on trend for. We're going to be in the talks of the top recruits at the end of the day, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what Marcus Freeman is looking to put his hat in. And we're going to win some, we're going to lose some, but so far we've made an imprint on all those guys that have committed somewhere that were a top guy. Dylan Edwards, Keon, and Peyton Bowen. Even they all are Notre Dame guys first. It's just a matter of closing the deal next, which is something we haven't been in position for in a long time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there was a salvo, sent across the bow of college football programs this morning when the NCAA announced Nicole Arbaugh, who I had an opportunity to work with previously, wrote a great story about the new president of the NCAA that will be taking over next year, and he has a political background. That's very important. He is now the governor of Massachusetts. He will release that position coming up in January 23 and take the position of president of the NCAA and on March 1st, 2023. He's 66 years old, political background, former student athlete. He's married. His wife was a gymnast at Northwestern, and he's raised two student athletes of his own in his family. So he has connection to the NCAA, but he is not someone that usually comes through the pipeline of being a president at an institution or in some other capacity within the NCAA. The reason they went out and got him because the NCAA, while we all thought they were just being quiet and allowing things just to happen, they were sitting back game planning, and they were trying to figure out the best way to come at NIL. And in order to do that, they figured they had to do it politically, and they had to get someone that knew how to solve complex situations in a bipartisan way. And this is where they landed with Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker as the next president to succeed Mark Emmert. Now, understand, he is a Republican governor in a primarily Democratic state. So that's saying something. And being able to get things done, the NCAA would like for him to deal with this NIL crisis in a way where they don't come across as the enemy, but yet still you don't have full leverage on the side of these young men and these teenagers and the schools themselves. There has to be a meeting ground, and that's going to be his first task as the new president of the NCAA, to find a meeting ground between the players, the schools, and the NCAA. You're shaking your head, Left. I'm just reporting. I'm telling you, man, Nicole Arbaugh did a great job of in her story of breaking down why they went outside the common choices of president of a school or someone within the NCAA, the board of governors for the NCAA, and went to the political side knowing what the biggest issue that they're going to be facing moving forward, especially with expansion with the college football playoff. They knew that something had to be done.
Well, it's going to be interesting. So, usually when takeovers like this happens, it usually gets not everybody's going to be happy with the change, but some organization can help the situation for sure.
Yeah.
Love seeing that. Um, it hadn't been too crazy other than the transfer portal. And I think the handle on that over the NIL would be better only because I think a lot of kids are losing out on just being at a school and
Mm.
losing the scholarship in general or sitting out a couple years because it's so packed in with so many kids. So I think, it'll be interesting to see them handle that. NIL stuff is about money, so that's always going to be one side's winning and one side's losing.
I'm interested in how they're going to attack this politically, right? Because I think they have no desire to try and overturn the legislation. I think they recognize that's a losing cause right now in 2022. Like, you're not overturning that. It's just not happening. But within that, they don't ever want to get to the point to where the Pandora's box of their TV deals really come into play. I think that's really what they want to protect now. Like, okay, we will set some guidelines to whereas these are the limits. And I think they're going to deal with it from a recruiting standpoint first. Because look, if you were Iowa and you had a recruit decommit from you, 5-star, to go to another school, and you felt like it was via enticement, wouldn't you report it as a coaching staff?
I mean, but that's recruitment, though. You're enticing players with all type of stuff. I
Agreed.
just find it hard to be like, well, they did it better than me, so they can't do that. I just think if if that's what the player wants,
Yeah.
not every player wants those type of things, and we've seen from some of the Notre Dame commits.
Yeah.
The NIL is important, but they rather get into the Notre Dame club first, and then see what falls out of that tree. So I think it's just like it's hard to tell a person they can't do what they want to do. Really,
Facts. Facts. It's hard. It's hard to do that. Now, what about you in that position? If you are advising Lil Lefty in 16 years, if you are advising Lil Lefty and he has made a decision and it's a week away from National Signing Day, and here comes whatever institution saying, yo,
like a couple million on the table.
dude, I didn't even want to mention the amount, man, because I think the amount is somewhat,
And
you
you
know,
think it's insignificant? I think the
exaggerated a
amount is
little
definitely
bit.
significant.
Say it again.
I think the amount is significant. It was like $10 million for sure. We're gonna have to make a pivot.
Oh, so now you're giving yourself. I see what you're saying. You're looking down at 16 years, saying the money's going to be much
Yeah,
bigger.
the market's
The
going to be
market
higher.
grows. I see
You
what you're
know,
doing. I see
they,
what you're
they
doing.
throw a last minute pitch because that's no different than the NFL. All of those guys are trying to get the best deal on their second contract, or if they're switching teams. So I don't know how it changes when you're 17, 18.
Well, first of all, if you are trying to get a second contract, that means you have produced for said team that you are negotiating with.
True.
Right. Now, if we're talking about a freshman that comes in and lights it up, and he wants to go to the staff like, hey, this NIL collective needs to be we need to do some things.
What they should do is take some of that TV money, put
I
it in the
agree.
pool to where the top power fives can use it as like a cap type of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you use the allotted money per year. If it's like $3 million a year for the SEC or the Big Ten because of the TV deals, then you can accordingly recruit your NIL to that
Yeah.
$3 million. And just like the NBA, you get luxury tax. If you doing this and that, because if they made it about money rules, I feel like it'll work itself out a lot easier than the ethics and the subjective feelings on what players should and shouldn't be allowed to receive and this, that, and the third. If they just made it like money rules, Like, here's your salary cap. This the luxury tax, and this
Yeah.
is, I think it'll be a lot more digestible for NIL conversation.
Yeah. But I think that's why they're going the route they're going with the new president, with Charlie Baker and his political background. That's why they chose him, to be able to sit down with both sides and say, look, number one, with this expansion, this TV money is about to become bananas with the expansion of the college football playoff.
Oh, really?
We need to protect that, even if we have to give up something in order to protect the majority of it. We're okay with that, but we need someone that can go in there and represent us. That's an outsider that won't be looked upon as the dark side, if you will, of college football, and make us look like the bad guys. He can be, of course, he's working for the NCAA, but he has a background of being bipartisan. And that's what they want the negotiations to seem like. They're being bipartisan. We know better, but image is everything.
That's right.
So there's a lot of comments in the chat. Had us on fire each and every day. That's why we love you guys. You keep it real. You keep it a buck. And once again, what we're not about to do is be foolish enough to think that a report is going to sway a kid away from Notre Dame. Be better than that. Stop. Be better than that.
I think we're on the right path. Go ahead.
Say it again?
What were you saying?
No, I said you didn't finish talking about what you would tell Lil Left.
Oh, I would be like, listen, it depends on the school. The school that we committed to would probably be the right fit. Most likely all the details would be hashed out. I'll be like, that's just fanfare. Don't pay attention to it. Unless he was like a Bryce Young situation. Bryce Young was committed to USC, saw the foolishness. Nick Saban called him and said, come over here. We're the best team in the country. And nobody complained about the move.
Right.
He went to Bama, started, best player on the best team, and they did their thing. So if it was a situation like that, then I wouldn't mind. But if I was Kenny Minchie's situation, we was at Pitt, and then right before signing day, Notre Dame called, we going Notre Dame.
Well, Kenny Minchie, hold up. But see, Kenny Minchie initiated.
Oh, yeah, he called Notre Dame.
He initiated. So that's totally different. Yeah. That's him having a change of heart. Like, you know what? Yo, what's up?
What's up?
Exactly. And look, that's fine. Look, we already told you. I think both of us have been adamant in saying, look, we're taking all 5 visits. If we were a recruit, or if our sons were or daughters were recruits, we're taking all 5 visits. We've done shows where we said these are the 5 schools that I would have official visit to right now if I was in college football. Experience the process. You've earned it.
Yeah.
As a high school athlete, you've put yourself in this position to experience the process. All I'm saying is respect this dude right here.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't move like that. He doesn't move like that. That's like
he's keeping us fresh in the game. We not following the trends.
That's like being in an open relationship and still lying.
Yeah.
The way it feels like he's being treated as a head coach, as honest and transparent as he is, and as accessible as he is, there's no need to lie to him.
I think the Dylan Edwards thing happened. I think it honestly happened after Coach Freeman and them left. Because didn't the prime thing take place after that weekend or something
Nah,
like that?
but look, Coach Prime knew for weeks he was going to Colorado, and Coach Prime had people at Colorado already putting in calls to recruits. So it's right on the edge and the fringe of a gray area. I don't know. I don't know. It could have been above board. It could have been a little gray. But honestly, I think Dylan Edwards was. I don't know what the conversations were. All I'm saying is when you have someone that's being transparent and pretty much letting cats know, dude, just tell us. Just be honest. Well, don't play this back and forth game like we're good. We're good. Oh no, we're good. We're good. And then all of a sudden, like don't no. He's telling you. He has given you the freedom to keep it a buck. Coach, man, I'm really interested in seeing what's out here. Okay. Cool. That's the way you feeling? We still want you in the class. We love it. You know what I mean? I can't be babyface and give you the sun, the earth, the moons, and the stars, and the mountains. I can't give you all that. I can't give you all of that. Unfortunately, I can't do that. But we want you. And the way things are moving right now, I think him and other coaches that are moving in a similar way, they need some respect put on their names.
That's right.
They need some respect put on their names, man. You don't have to string people along. No, keep it a buck. Even if you changed your mind, even if you started out with the best intentions and the money got so good, let people know. Like, you know what? This is kind of important now. Okay. Be honest about it. Let us know.
Let us know.
Left 10 million, that's saying something. In 16 years, hey, I might have to text you like left. Damn.
10 million.
that's 10 million. That's 10 million left.
Jeez.
You can open up a whole other distillery and distribute your own whiskey, bro.
It's a lot you could do with 10 million now. But I think that's just what it comes down to with what entices certain kids and why it's important. As some of this stuff is an expectation too. So, I think the expectation would be different for Peyton taking a deal, let's say allegedly their Oregon and OU was both for 2 million. He goes to a school like that. His expectation is ready to go. Plug and play. You supposed to be first team All American, win the top awards. I think coming to Notre Dame, you can grow with a class that is all talented. The expectation is about championships and development, being in a competitive environment, get all the resources from Notre Dame. Is that and the third? I just think it's a different expectation, one that's more player friendly when you're not committing to the money specifically. Because, with money comes expectations because people paying for something. So they want a return of investment on that 2 million. Like a Nico Imovalita, he should damn near start in the game for Tennessee for the bowl game. Just because if you are getting paid 8 million, that needs to be every snap needs to count. There's no free snap that you get in that Tennessee that's not trying to be a return on investment like a Hendon Hooker was. So I think that's just a whole different type of pressure for a kid that doesn't know what he doesn't know. I think he's still a great player, but I think at Notre Dame he could develop the right way with a different type of pressure, but it's more focused on his development
Yeah,
and possibly being up for championships every year. Because OU
yeah.
and Oregon ain't going to be up for championships every year.
See, Matt, our guy, he taps in. He says, Shaun, oh man, the new NCAA guy, Charlie Baker, was on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan, and he said, number one order of business, he has a plan to control NIL. Well, he said it on national TV. Look, this changes the game, right? Because if I'm the 23 class and I know change is coming, go grab, right? Go grab, because this is the best market for it. Because the market is about to considerably change, in my opinion. 24 class might be the last class where you can really take advantage of NIL as far as a recruit.
Yeah.
In this manner. So if you're a 22, 23, 24 kid and that's important to you, by all means, like, man, it's your last chance. Take advantage of it, because change is coming.
That's right.
Change is definitely coming. Thank you, C-Mac, for chiming in with that. So always, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, great content each and every day. CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. People were kind of disturbed, I guess, with your explanation of the quarterbacks at Notre Dame on yesterday's show and how much the quarterbacks have been asked to do. Do you think too much has been asked, or is it not recruiting to what has been asked specifically that has been the biggest issue, in your opinion?
Yeah, just observing how much the quarterback is in control of and the type of styles that he's working through week to week. It definitely evolves and it becomes something that for a college quarterback it's more of a challenge if you're not supremely talented, at the right time. And I think you could be too early in the process and not be ready. You could, not be talented enough and be in the window and not be able to get everything done. And I think it really takes a special player to be able to do it. I mean, every quarterback we've had, and it's challenged them in some way with that.
Yeah.
Even if you think about Ian Book, and it came down to the top games that we needed to win, it was through the quarterback. If he didn't make a play in that Clemson game at home, we wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
And that was after he fumbled, which could have lost the game. And so going into playing against Clemson when they had the 4 All-American D linemen, it came to a point in the game where it's like the only person we got that's going to come from is Ian Book, and that's a challenge. So I think uh, the style of what we run is just so based on the quarterback that he's got to be something of like a superhero, which can be done. You've seen Caleb Williams be the entire USC team, and Bryce Young be the entire Alabama offense. So it's definitely the guys are able to step up to it. Ohio State without C.J. Stroud is not a good team this year.
No.
It's not a good team at all this year. If you really think about it, that's the impact that their quarterback has on that team. And I think with a type of quarterback of that magnitude, one that's sitting in New York, I think we would be able to flourish a lot better as the offense that's so varied in its style. So I do think a guy like Grayson McCall wouldn't survive in an offense that we have, because we asking for you to do a lot more than you just being in the pistol, turning around, faking it, throw RPOs. We asking you to read stuff. We asking you to run stuff, check plays, call protections, flip runs, all type of stuff. So I think it's important that you are developed under a system like that, but you need a bigger staff. It's a quarterback coach, OC, and one, and he's running the whole ship. I think you need some more help to be able to get it done the right way.
And moving forward, I think you were very honest talking about what you would like to see from not only Tyler, but Steve Angeli, who Marcus Freeman and Tommy Reed said has been getting run with the first team in these practices preparing for the Gator Bowl. What you want to see from both of these guys, is it pretty much in the same ballpark? Or because they might be different quarterbacks, are you looking for different things? Because would you put from an experience standpoint, you would think that certain mistakes you would expect from Steve Angeli if he got into the game that you might not expect from Tyler.
Yeah, I think the expectation, in my opinion, would be both because I think that if Marcus Freeman's protracting his, time at Notre Dame, he can't keep both of them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that this is why, out of all the quarterbacks in the last 5 or 6 years, Tyler Buchner and Steve Angeli are the closest in styles, and then that you can run the same stuff with. So I think Tommy will have a way easier time calling this as compared to Tyler Buchner and Jack Cohn, who are diametrically opposite. Drew Pine and Tyler Buchner diametrically opposite. I think Steve Angeli and Tyler Buchner together are both part of the same type of what you can run.
Yeah.
So I would see it as an audition tape for both. I mean, this is Steve has probably a bigger hill to climb, but Tyler has a bigger expectation that still is yet to be proven. So I think it's a good challenge for both of them to take the spot or at least audition to be number two going in next year.
Lucky Lefty podcast. We're talking about Tyler Buchner, Steve Angeli, what to expect in the Gator Bowl. Is it a bigger expectation of them, or is it really a bigger expectation of Tommy for you in this Gator Bowl?
Well, Tommy's going to call them plays. So I think his adjustment to who he has is important. I think that's about 30%. But then it's going to be good enough for one of those guys, provided they play on a high level, to be able to execute and get it done. So I think that's the other 70 that is going. I just want to see a nice competition of who can really step up to the plate in this case, because it's about winning the game. They need a leader to win the football game for this team. When you don't have your best player on either side of the ball, neither do they. They lost a tight end and a running back that were pretty impactful. But I think for us, it's just important to see where we can go with this.
Give me the three things you don't want to see offensively when it pertains to Tyler Buchner. The three things you don't want to see. It can be a system, formation, game plan, whatever. Like, what's the three things you're like, man, if I see these three things with Tyler Buchner in the game, I might lose it.
If he's doing run, pass every time, that's predictable 3 and outs, I'll probably pull my hair out. If they're not allowing him to play loose, I think he's got to be able to take some shots down the field early and then be able to grind out and run the football second half. So for him, I think it's about getting him going early. If we can get him on some rollout throws, some easy completions, couple deep shots, working the receivers that we have high expectations for, like his guy Lorenzo, connecting with him. I think that'll be really good to see. I don't want to see him carrying the ball the first 10 plays of the game. I don't want to see him carry it more than 3 times, just because I will know that they're game planning for him to run once again, which
Right.
I believe is a good skill that he has, but it's not his best strength. And he's not a running back. So to design or script plays for him to run in the first 10 plays, it just shows that you're not considering his health or his skill set, and you're just being a lazy play caller.
I think I'm more interested if what you said is true and your expectation of South Carolina defensively and what they're going to do, which is load the box and bring pressure. to kind of supplement their struggles defensively, stopping the run early in the game, you have to take 50-50 shots.
Yeah.
It's not even it's like a 1-2, let it go deep, or we throw it, checking it down to the running back. Like that's it.
Throw a couple slants versus press man, couple goals versus press man, couple down the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really think that which is one of Tyler's strengths. You look at his high school film, he's just throwing it deep or running around. So give him a chance with some guys that we know can run down the field. Still got Braden Lindsey, still got Styles, still got Tobias Merriweather. You got Jaden Thomas, Deion Cosley still in the mix. You got your running backs out of the backfield. So you got a lot of weapons to where a Notre Dame fan base can be like, wow, we really didn't need Michael Mayer as much as I thought because we have so many other pieces. And I think this is an opportunity for Tyler to show that with throwing it down the field and making plays, in between off-schedule things.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think ultimately we see a lot of things within this program. Jaden Thomas, the way he came on in bowl practices last year, I think Audric Estime and the way he came on at the end of the season propelled him and Logan Diggs into the success that they had this season. I think this is meaningful, right? People try to say bowl games don't mean a lot. They really are the foundation for the following season. I think it was the same thing for you when you faced off against LSU, right? That was a confidence builder going into the offseason and going into the 2015 season. Like what we saw in that Texas game really started, I would go even further. It started the second half of that USC game, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think so too. And I think, I think what's going to be interesting to see too is just how we get through this bowl prep season.
Yeah.
Transition into the spring with the early enrollees and how recruitment is up to that point. I think this all season might be the biggest for Marcus Freeman because now he's been able to clear the decks of everything, and this is his program now. And the way he runs it from here, I think, provides the stability in my mind that if he can keep what he's got and what he's talked about in his vision, then we can really have some good years down the road.
And I think that's going to be the best thing for Notre Dame. I'm glad they took the approach they took with NIL. They jump in feet first, head first, they didn't dive straight in. They sat back. They probably knew what the Board of Governors were looking to do, and they knew how it was going to play out. Now, why have dead money out there that you promised when you know change is coming down the line to control these things? And this is great for Notre Dame. This is what I want to get across. This new president saying the number one thing he wants to do is get NIL under control. Fantastic for Notre Dame from a recruiting standpoint moving forward. Fantastic.
Because we didn't have to change who we was, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Like, give us guidelines, even if they do it from a pool standpoint, like you pointed out, Left. Okay, now we divvy up how we want to give out what we have. It's an equal playing field. It's not like somebody has more money. We all have the same amount. And then if we want to do extra, maybe it's taxed.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a luxury tax or something like that. I don't know. But eventually, news like this means really good things as we head towards CFP expansion and recruiting in 24 and 25 with Charlie Baker, the new president of the NCAA, coming into office in early 2023. So put some respect on Marcus Freeman's name. The foundation he's built, the 23 class that he has in tow, regardless of what happens, in the next 6 days. And the way he's handled things, he deserves nothing but respect from the fan base. Good things are ahead of you, Irish fans. You can believe that. Anything else before we get to the best time of the day?
Nah, I think that's it, man. I think we covered it today, especially on putting that respect on Marcus Freeman, a Dayton man, Daytonian himself.
You had to go there. Just had to go there.
Because he definitely deserves it.
You already know what time it is, bro.
Petticoat, Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction. Petty story of the day brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Hey, man, I'm putting Aiden O'Connell on the petty train. The Purdue quarterback.
Yeah.
This dude said he was foregoing the bowl game to enter the NFL draft. What? Wait a minute, fam. Wait, did I miss something? Did Aiden O'Connell become a top?
Shoot to the top? Is he a top 5 guy now or what? Like, what did he?
That's what I'm asking.
Where did he get advice from?
That's what I'm asking. Like, why are you
Jeff
doing
Brown
a
was the reason, not you. Charlie Jones was the reason, not you. Come on now.
Freaking Charlie Jones.
Yeah, freaking Charlie Jones got the quarterback gassed up. He said Charlie, or it could be he knows he don't have Charlie for the bowl game, so he's like, man, I'm not going in there without my guy Charlie. That's Charlie Jones.
Oh man. And I guess Brom won't be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
His coach. But 3,490 yards this year, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions with a QBR 71.4. My man, look, there's probably a few reasons why you chose not to play in this game. You don't have your play caller, you don't have your coach, so you're worried about looking bad against LSU. So, but man, he put out a post and everything like he was a top 5 quarterback prospect with like first, second round grade left.
That branding and marketing team, he probably got crazy.
Yo, did you see Drew Brees as an assistant coach?
Where at?
At Purdue?
Wow.
Yeah, he's an interim assistant coach at Purdue, man.
Well, he runs that thing. I'm sure he'll be a great coach, honestly.
Yeah, he as soon as Jeff Brom left and went to Louisville, he stepped in. They said he's been participating in practices for a week or so. They finally
who wouldn't want Drew Brees,
Heck yeah. Hey, if I was a young quarterback, I would love, please let Drew Brees set up this game plan.
Please, because we'll win.
Dude, if Drew Brees sets up a game plan to beat Brian Kelly.
I mean, we know how Brian does, so
that would be hilarious, bro. That would be hilarious. No petty here, but shout out to the Chronic. 30 years ago, it dropped today.
Wow.
One of the top 5 classic hip-hop albums
of all time.
Without a doubt, NWA broke the mold and kind of bust through for the West Coast. But the Chronic elevated the West Coast. I do, because I already know you had to be like, what, 2?
Yeah. Insignificant age.
Right. Yeah, when it dropped, I was a teen. So I definitely remember where I was, the vibe that was going around. I was like, yo, this album is amazing. Yeah. So shout out to the Chronic, Dr. Dre. Oh man. Well, Left, the new president, man, might put a damper on that 10 mil for Lil Left, bro.
Sure, we'll see. He may not stick around long if he don't do the right steps. So see how it goes.
Yo, follow us on YouTube as always, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, CFB Nation. Set up the automatic download. Leave 5 stars. We greatly appreciate it. Lucky Lefty Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And also Lucky Lefty Podcast, our YouTube page. Smash the like button. Hit the notification bell. Every time we go live, you'll know. And you'll get that little ring. Lucky Lefty's on the way. We appreciate you. So great show today. We talked about Tyler Buchner, tied up the loose ends with his approach to the Gator Bowl. Tommy Reese as well. We talked about Peyton Bowen, what's going on with him. Respecting Marcus Freeman and his staff, putting a bow on the 23 class as National Signing Day approaches. And then we gave you a little extra on the end, a little cherry on top of the Sunday to make sure that it went down easy for you and you enjoyed it. That's what we do. We spin it. We give you the great content surrounding college football and Notre Dame. Have a great Thursday. But most of all, you got to make sure that you spin it different. We'll holler.